Hello everyone, Simon here. Let us continue playing Shadowrun Returns. So I've been thinking about the story of this game for a little bit. And I've been thinking that, you know, the game, like Shadowrun's, the setting, the world, there's a lot of things that they talk about like real world issues. Like for example, like big corporations and police corruption and like racism and like even stuff like drug use, prostitution. There's a lot of stuff that's kind of relevant to the real world. But then when you get into the story, who's the bad guy, right? The bad guy is a doctor who abuses his patients, sells them as sex slaves for money. I mean, that is like okay, he's a bad guy, but it's not like a systemic evil. Like it's not a societal, social. It's not like a social problem. It's like an individual villain problem. And then after that, there's the Universal Brotherhood, which is like religion and cults. You might think the game's gonna talk about religion, but then you get into the basement and then you immediately have giant insects, which, like it brushes past the religion, it brushes past the cult stuff, and then goes straight into giant insects. And so like all the all the themes that are relevant to real world issues, they're there in the game, but they're not the main villain. None of them are the main villain. The main villain is giant insects, which is not a real world issue, right? There are no giant insect threats in the real world. So I guess what I'm saying is that I find it a little bit, tiny little bit disappointing that the game doesn't address like real world social problems as the main issue. They're just there in the background, and then it turns into the supernatural weird stuff that doesn't really matter to the real world. See what I mean? Like it makes like there is social commentary, but the social commentary is not the main point. And I feel like I guess I would prefer the game to tackle the social commentary stuff directly, if that makes sense. Anyway, we're back at the Union. Let's go ahead and talk to people. Oh, give me another cherry! Wait, is everybody Oh, cherry is real popular. Oh, we can talk to her despite her not having a thing. Cherry Bomb is swamped with customers, but when she catches a glimpse of you, she gets up on her tiptoes to talk to you over their heads. Hey there, CKC, what's going on? Hey, Cherry, listen, we need to talk about Shane. It's your ex, he's dead, nothing important. Hey, we need to talk about Shane. Shane? What about Shane? It's not good, Cherry. She looks you in the eye. Just tell it to me straight, SCKZ, I'm a Baron's girl. Shane's dead. I can't tell you anything else right now, it's too dangerous, but I thought you should know. My god, Shane. She looks at her customers, then down at the bar top for a long moment before finally composing herself. Thanks for letting me know. Maybe we'll talk later. Yeah, maybe we will. She continues processing the information, then she remembers something. Oh hey, Johnny Clean asked me to flag you down the minute I saw you. Said he's got someone who wants to talk to you. He sounded a little freaked out about it. He's waiting for you downstairs. Alright. Johnny Clean freaked out? Okay, I'll talk to him. The wind's out of her sails. Yeah, that'd be a whizzer. Alright, so we reported Shane's death to Cherry Bomb. You know, it's Coyote. Coyote's face is pale and her voice is low, shaky. What the hell was that back there, man? Just what the frag was that? That was giant insects. Bugs. Giant fragging bugs. It looks like the Brotherhood is transforming their followers into bugs. The Universal Brotherhood is all about belonging to a hive or something. Yeah, looks like the Brotherhood is transforming their followers into bugs. And Sam's sister is their leader. If I didn't see it, there's no way I'd believe it. Giant unkillable bugs. Well, I think the point is we're gonna figure out a way to kill them, Coyote, so don't call them unkillable. Just say we haven't figured out how to kill them just yet. She shudders, shakes it off. Fine, whatever. I want that woman dead now more than ever. If you go after her again, you think of me, okay? I'll be around, locked and loaded. Alright, cool. I mean, a free companion's good for me. Will do. Okay, later. This friggin' guy. John Bartlett. John Bartlett's basically... I think John Bartlett is added into the game after the game was really finished. Maybe they like... After playing the game for a while, people decided that some of the missions were too difficult. And so they added stronger companions. Stronger team members. For you to use. Good to see you around here, chummer. Because he doesn't really fit into any of this. And he actually has nothing to say. Also, now there's a little dot on top of Cherry, but I can't click on her. Don't know what the game's doing here. Mr. Johnson? Who is Mr. Johnson? Mr. Johnson, the man sizes you up as you approach. His carefully groomed hair and the shine on his shoes seem out of place for the Barons. Hey, you looking for work? I got a little something if you're up for it. It's a milk run. Side missions. This is a new one. You know what? I'm always up for getting paid. He grins, exposing a set of unnaturally white teeth. Wavy. Why did they talk like this? The job's a simple extraction. The people I represent are interested in acquiring the talents of a scientist named Sada. Unfortunately, Mr. Sada is currently engaged with Winraku, which means he's engaged for life. That doesn't sit well with the people I represent. They see it as a subversion of the free market. Okay. And you want me to secure Mr. Sada's freedom to work for your people instead. I mean, that's one way of putting it. He flashes his pearly whites again, exactly, but it has to be now. Rinraku's shipping Sada out of Seattle in the morning for some sort of overseas research project. Tonight, he's being kept at a hidden research facility out here in the Barrens. Just a couple of miles from here. I hear they've been bringing in unmarked shipments for weeks now. Thinking that nobody notices. We don't care about any of that, we just want Sada before he's out of our reach. The place should be lightly guarded, probably rent-a-cops. Get in, grab Sada, and get out. In exchange, I'm authorized to remit 9,000 yen in payment. He fixes you with a hard stare. I am not, however, authorized to negotiate. Sure. I'm in, let's see the yen. We pay on delivery, friend. That's how it always works. I'll send the lab's location to your PDA. Hire a team and head there right away. Liberate Sada and deliver him to my employers. They'll have a car waiting outside the lab when you're done. Once Mr. Sada's on his way, meet me back here for payment. Oh, we have side missions. See me when you're done, chummer. This is the first side mission, isn't it? I thought it was a bit strange how linear this thing is, because like we have a hub, and then we go out on missions, and you would think that, you know, given that we are Shadowrunners, we would have like other missions. Okay, now for the first time we have other missions. So the game is opening up. I don't know how big the game is, to be honest. How long is this game? I should. How long to beat Shadowrun returns? Focusing on main objectives, 12 hours. If you want to see all aspects, 18 hours. It's not that much, huh? It's only 18 hours. So I guess there aren't that many side missions. How long have I been playing? Yo, guy, have we met? You look familiar. I meet a lot of people, no problem. You need some brain benders tonight? I got some of that merc stuff. Freakish taxi drivers, you know. Can I trust you? Nobody's more trustworthy than old Bobby. Kabuto wouldn't let me in the place if I wasn't legit. Alright, let me see what you got, Bobby. Nothing that I'm interested in. Van Grass. I believe I have information to sell? Hello stranger, I'm busy right now, so I hope you've got something that's worth my time. How about a list of every politician the Universal Brotherhood has bribed to date? I could certainly find some interest in that information. Someone interested in that information would take some legwork to verify the veracity of such a list. How about 2,000? Socialite Brackhaven's not on the list. We both know how much he'd pay. Shadowrun, the info is about to be worth a lot more in the next few days. Oh, when you blow up the Brotherhood? We can't, we don't have the etiquette. Alright, fine, deal. Good, I've got other business to attend to, here's your money. Great. You alright, SKC? I've seen better days. I've had better days. I heard you made trouble with the Universal Brotherhood. Stirred up a hornet's nest, you might say. They started it, but I aim to finish it. Just following through on the promise. Oh, they started it. I aim to finish it. People are starting to say there is some dark drag going down in those chapter houses. Like they're taking advantage of the poor folk who go there looking for help. I gotta say, that makes my blood boil. It's bad enough that the government labels half the population as probationary citizens. We don't need more people preying on the most defenseless members of society. And I hate to bring race into it, but it's a fact that a good number of people who go to the Brotherhood for help are metas like me. But what options do we have? Do you realize that it would take an act of Congress to grant me full citizenship? And they have yet to do it once. Wars are started more easily than a meta gets a sin in this country. See, they talk about real-world issues, right? They talk about immigration policy in the United States. But the main story is giant bugs. So it's no wonder we turn to people like the Brotherhood, who claim to listen to our woes and speak on our behalf. He catches himself, takes a breath, and visibly calms. I'm sorry, I just know some folk who went to the Brotherhood for these very reasons. I might have ended up there myself if Mrs. Kubota hadn't taken me in. Whatever's going on in there, I trust you'll put an end to it one way or another. You can count on it. Go get him, sir. Right, like the game talks about these things, but the story isn't actually about these things. And I wish it was. Right, I wish the game would just tackle the issues directly. For once, Dr. Kazo is not utterly absorbed in her work. In fact, she seems to have set aside whatever she's doing to give you her full attention. Perhaps word has spread about what you already faced and what is still to come. I'm glad to see you're alright, SDKC. I was afraid they'd be cutting you back to me in pieces. Hey Doc, if I bring back a giant bug, would that be useful? Do you do like biology research? I don't suppose it would do me any good to suggest an early retirement, or at the very least that you might delay whatever is coming long enough for you to get a decent night's sleep and a full meal. No one should die tired and hungry, that it. There are things that need doing and I'm the one to do them. I never knew you cared, Doc. I mean, if she didn't care, why would she be a doctor? Imagine if the doctor didn't care if you died. Why would they be a doctor if they didn't care if you died? Why would you... The whole point of being a doctor is you care about people dying. Alright. There are things that need doing and I'm the one to do them. I mean, these are all weird. I wouldn't say any of these things. And I imagine those are the last words spoken by many brave idiots. Well... You know, the proof of whether a person is an idiot is not what they say, but whether they can back up what they say. If they can't back up what they say, then they're idiots. I plan to back up what I say, with action. Oh, but who am I kidding? I know your type all too well. Words of caution have little worth, and words of prohibition only make you more eager to throw yourself into the fire. You like children that way. Yes, Mom. So fine, do what you will. Just tell me what I can do to keep you alive that much longer. Alright, what have you heard, Doc? Well, let's review. In the past few days, I've lost one patient and nearly lost the second. Wait, who'd you lose? Wait, who do we lose? I've also learned that a man claiming to be a fellow doctor was responsible for the first of those deaths. And now I hear that another supposed force for good has been committing heinous acts on innocent men and women. Who did she lose? Wait a minute. Is she talking about Sam? But she didn't. I mean, Sam didn't die on her operating table. Okay. Quite frankly, it's almost enough to make a woman give up on the whole human race. I've given up on the whole human race a long time ago, Sarah. I'm just doing this for myself now. I don't do it for the human race. I do this for myself. But then I remember why I don't. I remember how many innocent lives Mrs. Kubota has saved by giving them place and purpose here at the Union. I remember seemingly useless wastes of flesh like Paco risking their lives to save the ones they love. I remember that some people are still willing to stand up against those who would seek to do harm to others. And that's the real reason you won't hear me argue against your chosen course of action, because I agree that it must be done. I only hope it can be done without any more innocents coming to harm. Innocents are always gonna come to harm, Sarah. That's the world I love to live in, but it just ain't so. If I could make that deal, I would. That's the plan, Doc. That's the plan! You can't do it. Innocent people will always die. There'll always be more innocent people, and then there will always be more dying. Right? This is the circle of life. If I could make that deal, I would. Then do the next best thing. Put an end to this. What? Put an end to the giant bugs? I'd like to wake up in a world short one less evil. But there'll always be more evil, Doctor! You kill one, another will arise. Because that's the circle of life, like you just go around in circles. There's no such thing as one less evil. Like, you kill every villain in the world, some kid's gonna grow up to be an asshole. Right? You're never gonna clean it all up. Because that's not how reality is. Alright, we don't need any of your stuff. Since we are committed to not taking implants. Algernon, the magic dealer's area is abuzz with chaotic activity as you watch the contents of a dozen boxes fly through the air. The articles land on Algernon's table in some elaborate sorting scheme, while the man himself casually sits reading a magazine from the previous century. Okay. Welcome, Miss CKC. Is there anything I might provide to make your life easier, or perhaps another's more difficult? Alright, ever hear of a bug spirit or bug shaman, Algernon? You ever see giant insects? The elf's face curls into a grimace. I'm sorry. I find the very thought repugnant. Well, there's a new kind of metahuman in town, Algernon, and it's buggy. You must understand, a shaman does not follow the literal incarnation of his totem. One who pledges himself to cat does not drink milk from a saucer or claw the drapes. Instead, a shaman follows the ideals of his totem. Dog is less a canine and more a symbol of loyalty. Coyote is less a scavenger and more a trickster. What are bugs then? Oh, bugs are obedient. Okay, well, according to Sarah. So you can understand why I find the idea of an insect totem so foreign. To what quality would a shaman aspire in such a case? A chill visibly runs through him. Please, let us speak of more pleasant things, perhaps. Commerce. Alright, we don't use magic, at least not yet. Do we have armor? Hey guy, I got some armored clothing here if you're interested. Hey, we got armor! So what am I wearing? I'm wearing armor 6. High grade street armor, pure body protection with a touch of class. Armor 10 but no extra stats. Armor 8 but more spellcasting, more willpower. Interesting. Armor 8, more drone control, more drone combat. Very interesting. Street Monk outfit, movement and armed combat. Agent Provocateur, intelligence, ESP control. So I can go for the full 10 armor, or I can go for the bonus drones. I wonder. I think I go for the full armor. But this, I'm curious about this. I am. +1 drone control, +1 drone combat.